Hello, guys. So let's start and let's put some music on until we get together, and then we are going to jump right in. Hello everybody, hopefully everybody's having a nice Saturday morning. Coffee, yay. Oh Chris, I'm so bad. I don't like to hear bad news, but we are going to see what's going on over there. So this is really hard reading for me, especially when it comes to weekly readings, I have to tell you. But for some reason, when I was meditating in the morning, and by the way, just to let you know, every Saturday morning I meditate and I do a quick Reiki, and that one is for everybody who comes to live, because you guys are bringing me this energy, so actually you're getting healing energy. So pay attention around 10ish in the morning Eastern Standard Time. That's basically what happens. Woo, 8 a.m. in Australia. Hello. So it came to me that I have to do Gypsy and Lenormand, and I'm like, oh, that's hard, because it is really hard. Not only shuffling, but also because I don't have time to do the grand tableau. I really have to pick up on it. But I said, okay, I'm up for a challenge, so let's see what's going on. For those of you who are not familiar with these, they're also divination methods. I have to tell you, some of my clients, they swear by it, totally swear by it. They just say, okay, can we just look Lenormand and just kind of get some stuff? And I really think they're powerful. They will be more maybe oriented. Well, Lenormand can actually mean general, but Gypsy or Vera Sibilla, this is kind of like a little kind of like modification of Vera Sibilla. It's more or less orienting toward emotional part, right? So it's really what you can see around the corner. So let's see what is going on there, guys. Signs, let's see who is here. What are your signs? Hopefully more people show up, but if they don't, let's go through it, right? So it is 15th of June, so it is still Gemini's birthday. And I have to also tell you, I have to brag a little bit. It was 10:57, I believe, so 3 minutes before live streaming, and I said, oh my gosh, my nails, because I go out with the dog and you grab the stuff, so basically I always have to clean your nails right now. I said, I cannot have live with such nails. So I did manage to clean my nails, remove the nail polish, and put the nail polish. You can see what you can do in 3 minutes. It's absolutely amazing. And right now I think they are also completely clean. Well, we'll see about that. So we are going to start with Gemini. And who do we have? Good morning, Sally. Where are my mods? If you guys can, at the moment when I say this, just to see, like the live is going to tell you on which second and minute we are, just write it in. So then later somebody can just go through it and pick it up, or usually Barbie comes and she kind of like does it, but I don't think that she's here or she's not here yet. So yeah, creative guru in 3 minutes, and that goes to show, like, I mean, how sometimes we waste time. So it just, like, I mean, hit me. Oh my gosh, this is really amazing. So next week I'm going to do Is Your Ex Coming Back series. I think this is due. And so I usually like to do my readings on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, but I'm not here on Wednesday, so I might push it earlier in a week, because the week after that I want to do monthlies for July. So let's start. Gemini, what's up with you, Gemini? And because it's a general reading, I'm going to do that upright. Oh, I don't know, maybe, whoa, maybe I'm going to do it. This is much harder. Gypsy and Lenormand up and down are much harder. I'm actually just still kind of like figuring out what will be the best interpretation for Lenormand reversed. And I did have a smart ass telling me, we don't do Lenormand reverse. Well, I do whatever I want to do. Nobody tells me how to read it, and it just, what it matters is that it's accurate, right? And not what should be. So that's Gemini. You have wedding. Well, maybe I should zoom this in. Where is my mouse? So you can see it better. And somebody's going to tell me, Kat, your tripod is again not balanced. So let me try to do that and see if that would work out. And where is the camera? There we go. So let me just try to zoom it in so you guys get a better view. Controls for camera. No, I don't want to reconnect camera. No, I don't want to reconnect camera. And no, thank you, I do not want to reconnect the camera. But apparently that this really insists that I reconnect a different camera. And it doesn't want to zoom it. Okay, there it is. Is it? No, it's too much. Oh, maybe it isn't. Ooh. You know, this is weird because most of the time I have option 1 and option 2. And now I have like about, you can hear by clicks how many different options I have. And the problem is, like, when I click, I really have to wait 30 seconds at the very least with a delay to really see it on the screen what effect my clicking has, because I think that's the YouTube delay, but it's okay, we are going to figure it out. So let's start around the bottom. I think this is better, you can see this better, except I don't know what's happening right now. And why is this all weird again? Okay, I thought I had it all done before the call, so I guess nails are more important. What can I tell you? So, there. This is still, I swear to you that where I look at it, from where I look at it, it looks perfectly aligned. But I guess it isn't. Okay, so, here we are. Nope, I guess we're not there. You guys are thinking I am a little bit off my rocker, and maybe you are absolutely, no, not maybe, you are absolutely right. That's what it is. Okay, so now it's sort of it is, and I'm afraid to pull it toward me because, so I'm not going to, I'm going to leave it where it is. So, pardon, Gemini. So you're going to have lots of adjustments. You know, usually when things happen like that, you need to start reading everything that is really happening around. So the adjustments needed for you will be in terms of your relationships. You know, interestingly enough, you're getting wedding card, you're getting prison card reversed, and prison to me is also marriage card, right? But there is like a release of something. Somebody is getting out of some sticky situation. Somebody's getting out of possible marriage, right? There is like not a sense of constraint. However, like somebody's not waiting anymore. It is kind of like really weird. Hello, Kylie and Tori. Hello, everybody. This card is really interesting because it's called Belvedere in Vera Sibilla deck. And I need to learn how to show you the card without being cut out completely. In that original deck, she has monocle, not binoculars, but monocular, and it's kind of like pointed at her. So it's basically weirdly positioning, meaning like she maybe is not even clear about what she's really waiting for. Let me get 3 more cards over here. Hello, Steve. We have another guy. Any other guy over here in line, guys? Come on, guys. Say yay to have a little bit male energy. Tori, how are you, sweetie? How is your health? Okay, let's get 3 cards. So, the clover, but these ones I'm going to do upright because, as I said, I'm still figuring it out. Interestingly, like all of them were reversed, but as you can see, not everything is reversed, just a few cards. It was really interesting. The clover in Lenormand is really talking about the luck, and the heart was also reversed. It's also talking about so obviously luck in a heart matters. So Gemini, it almost like sounds to me that you're going through some kind of like process where, and my cards are again off. Like, and I'm losing it. I am totally losing it. So it almost like sounds to me that maybe you're getting yourself free. I had this like this picture flashing before my eyes, and I'll try to I try to talk and work on this at the same time, because Geminis are very impatient people, and they're going to probably have a little bit freak out because I'm doing that. But it sucks to be you guys. So this is exactly what it is. It is a nervous energy that I'm really picking up on. And what kind of what flashed before my eyes is that you have not one situation, you have like a whole bunch of situations, plural, where there's like some kind of entanglement. I'm kind of like seeing you almost like wrapped in a yarn and being pulled in completely different directions, right? And at the end of that yarn, I'm just seeing different animals. I'm seeing a coyote, I'm seeing a fox, I'm seeing a rat. So it almost looks like these animals could be representing different people in your life who have some agenda, who kind of like got used to certain things of you doing things, right? So I'm really wondering here if this is talking about a closure, that you will need to cut those strings up. And for some reason, I don't know why you haven't done it already, because you're very chatty, you're a very talkative sign who's generally not having lots of problems telling people off, right? So when this card in particular comes reversed, it suggests that some maybe punishment that maybe has been a present, or some kind of breakup that maybe still has been echoing is ending right now. It still could mean some kind of negative situation, because maybe you have been waiting for somebody to turn around, to come around, but there is like some kind of confusion. It's a confusion about love. It's confusion who is the best for you. It's confusion about and it's partially your fault. I really think there are 2 partners who are very set in their opinions. It could be prejudice, it could be closed-mindedness, it could be also regrets and remorse. You know, it is like what it is. When we were children, everything would just like bounce off of us, just like water over the duck's back, right? But when we get older, which is a good thing, we have learned this lesson that, maybe certain situations we wouldn't have to repeat because they're simply not good for us, because this water eventually starts to penetrate right through, and it takes us longer and longer to kind of like really let go, right? If I really go in a positive interpretation of this set, I really think that you are realizing that you need to free yourself from some kind of situation, and that you're letting it go. And there's like not something that you really want right now when I'm telling you this. You're saying, no, I really want this to work out because I'm seeing this here. You're waiting for somebody to come back. You want this luck in love. And like, who doesn't want it? But destiny is telling you, not with this person. This crossroad is going nowhere. You are going to be chopped by those coyotes and like what else did I see? These rats. Do you really want to end up with people like that? There are people who have their own agenda. They don't have that warmth there for you. So Gemini, beware. Okay. So who is next? Did we have any Gemini over here? Just want to see what's up with that. So. Yes, guys, we need some men over here. When I look at my stats, oh my gosh, I didn't look at my stats on the site for a while. Like I have 80% of women and 20% of guys. But when we come here on live, it looks like it's very few guys. So that's why I'm really appreciative. And I also have I think from South Africa, my Dutch guy. He hasn't been here in a while. So have, if you're hearing me, please show up, stand up. So this would be, I'm having a card this morning to come and talk over here, and this is for Cancer. It is really starting. Cancer. So in the description you have how to get your natal chart. It's also good to get your inner planets. For this reading, outer planets, so let's say you have a Jupiter in Cancer, would not mean much because they are not moving that fast. Like weekly readings are really, really fast. So it is really good to kind of like look into that. So this is for Cancer. So inner planets, we're talking Venus, we're talking about Mars. We are really also talking about your Ascendant and your Sun sign. Are really, really good to check for this reading. So here, and what is this? I swear to you, I didn't touch anything and this moved. This completely moved. So I don't even know what's going on. Maybe I should glue this tripod to the floor. So that might actually finally work. Is this working? No, this is not too close. I'm lost. And I'm not blonde. I'm not blonde. I'm a brunette. I have a dark auburn hair. So Gemini, pardon me, Cancer, you have prison, you have consolation, you have enemy, and you have also the clouds, the dog, and the tree over here. The dog I really like to see in this reading because dog to me it's almost like what Cancer is in regular tarot. It is like that sense of loyalty, the sense of being there for us. It is the sense of kind of like really connecting with people, knowing who is your chosen person and being with this person. Yeah, needing yoga. I have no idea what's going on. I mean, I think what I'm going to do, and it's like not even helpful to put the dots on the floor where I need to put a tripod because it could be the camera itself that is messing up, and that's usually happens because cats are kicking it all the time, and that really, really doesn't help. So interestingly, Cancer, I was just talking about this prison card for Gemini, but they had it reversed. You have it upright. So it could mean to me, especially it's coupling here with the clouds card, it could mean to me that there's like something where you don't see how the story ends. It's some kind of like negative theme. It could be shame, it could be guilt, it could be that somebody embarrassed you. It's certainly this week, it's going to be, you're going to turn this week toward you. And almost like, you know how Cancers, they walk forward and when they get scared, they kind of like really clam up. And because if you really look at this card, right, and if you think about prison, it's just kind of like really weird. This guy over here in this prison is not necessarily a peasant, as you can see by his clothes, right? And it's also interesting that there is a vase over here that I don't know if he can really reach over here. So this vase or picture, whatever this is basically symbolizing what is needed to survive this confinement, this loneliness, this solitude. There is going to be a little bit depressive quality that I'm really picking up over here for you. And there is like this whole sense of justice that you're going to start to experience. You're going to feel like, why is this happening to me? And I really feel this is going to be self-imposed, that you're going to say, don't call me, I'll call you, or text me. I guess these days, I guess I'm that old, because yeah, you know, back then when I was dating, when I was like younger, like if somebody didn't call you, that was a big deal. You would sit at home and wait for somebody's call. And now if people call you, it's like, hey freak, you're calling me, kind of things like that. And I have to tell you, because I'm still old, I'm I'm just finding people who are texting me freaks, because I just like really think, okay, just save my time first of all, so I don't have to type, and tell me what you want, because I just find texting waste of time. Sorry. And I'm the one working in social media, so that's really sick. This is also negative energy, guys, clouds, but not as confining as the prison card over here. And it really talks about the depression that I told you, and doubt, and rain, and storms, and troubles, kind of a thing. It's one of those cards that in Lenormand they're calling Sinister Seven, right? That they're symbolizing difficulty, right? And if you're asking about love, then this is really not the best card for a relationship, and this is talking about not being clear. And since the clouds are just on this side and not on this side, right, it just kind of like, it feels like that you had a moment of clarity that kind of like made you, put you in some situation. So for example, you're dating someone, and everything is going well, and then one day you see them somewhere sitting with somebody, and it just hits you out of nowhere, because you never suspected that something is going on, and you are not a sign like, I don't know, like fiery signs that you will go and just like, what are you doing, blah blah. You would probably pull back and just like start thinking about that and what to do, and try to see if there is any possible explanation to that, etc., and see how it's basically going to work. This also can talk about work situation, that maybe you have setbacks at work or some side. So I really think that for you, that moment of clarity actually brought confusion to get there, right? And there is like that question about loyalty. There is a question, because you have this constellation card, if something is going somewhere. If you guys are just starting to date or something, you probably will, situation will be really different. You will feel, oh my goodness, like, I really met this woman, or I met this man, and this seems to be so nice, and we really hit it off, right? Like, it's one of those people, maybe you just go out on a date and you stay the whole night talking and really thinking, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. I'm just realizing how deprived I was, like, prior to it. And then going on that kind of like theme, then something happens that you're just not even sure why this person just suddenly maybe vanished or something, right? Because this card is here. I mean, if you're looking at this person, he's like praying, and the angels show up and say, okay, dude, I am tired of the prayers. Let's deal with this. Here's the money. Here's the power. Do you want one of them, or you want both, kind of a thing, right? But when this kind of like reverses, it clearly means that these opportunities are missed, right? And literally the failure to reap consolation. So that could be due to external forces, or due to basically you guys. So it could be just realization, oh, I really thought this is important. So it could be at work, could be it's just going to feel like a letdown, and it's going to feel really unexpected, guys, over here. And it could mean possibly even that you're going to have, let's say, stomach problems that I see over here, or dental problems. And that's why initially, if you remember what I said, this is my hair, this is going to be a healing week to kind of like not to worry what other people have to say, not to worry what other people need to do. Just realize who you are, because you see, people cannot take you off your balance, off your rocker, if you are very solid, if you have that balance, right? So we still can get stunned, and we can just go, "Aw, I thought this meant something," right? But also it has to be right time and right place for everybody. Just to expect that other person also is going to drop something, this happens rarely, and that's why our relationships are not really blossoming these days, if you wish. But at least we can navigate through that sea of stuff better, right? Enemy card is kind of like also negative card, and is describing a male energy, somebody who is devious, and somebody who will use any means to kind of like undermine somebody's like either personal, emotional, or maybe even financial situation. So if you're in business, maybe it's somebody who is just trying to see how to outdo you. It's also, to me, because you have the dog, you might be confining into someone. It could be a male friend, but doesn't have to be for the general reading, right? And this person maybe have their own agenda. Maybe not so much to, let's say you're saying about this date, but maybe this person knows this person and reveals something to you that is false. Or maybe this person just simply feels, oh, my friend is going to now hook up with this person, and I'm not going to have a friend, I'm going to be lonely. You see, that's where things start to kick in, that somebody's going to have their own selfishness, that somebody who is going to interrupt you. So it's going to be, I would say, a big question about your friends this particular week. So this is something to really look for. But the tree card is a really positive card, because it really talks about really healing, and tree is always about growth and kind of like figuring out how to continue. It's where the relationship improves. Maybe there is a need for adjustment and to kind of like talk about expectations, what people have. This is simply just card of karma as well in Lenormand. If I have to put karma cards, it would be few of them. It would be the tree, it probably would be the key, just for some that they really come to mind, right? But if you guys are worrying about your health, then this card should basically take precedent from all the other cards, because it would mean that the entire week, in fact, this is like really talking about the 5 days, and spring as well. And the spring is ending on the 21st. So I think, right? 21st? Yes. Or 20th, depending on precision. So this is going to be something that you will be really finding out how to address. So Cancer, do not despair. Everything that is really happening over here is happening for a really good reason. So just keep going, because sometimes it's really good for you. Friendships are very important, and you cannot stand false friends. So it is very, very important for you to understand that if you find out that somebody is, let's say, giving you wrong information, don't jump to conclusions, and simply just instead see why they're doing that. See why I told you I'm not crazy about doing Gypsy and Lenormand. It takes forever for each sign. I could have as well do the monthly live. So now we are going Leo. Let's see for Leo. Let me focus a little bit more, be quicker. Thanks, Tori. Leo. Oh, good morning, Michelle. Nice to see you. Leo. Oh, we have a whole bunch of cards coming through. We have Priest reversed. We have Melody reversed, and we have Reunion reversed. And let's get 3 cards here. Who is Leo here? Say yay. I want to see Leo saying yay. Ooh, the Garden reversed. You put somebody back in the pond, didn't you? Leo, somebody wanted to be with you and you didn't find that at all. You wanted to be with this person. It was like somebody who could have been very, let's say, traditional, to put it a nice name to it, who kind of like, like one of those people who enter your life as if you just didn't live up to this point, and they tell you this is how you will live your life. It's like, okay, just take a popcorn and like watch it, because of course it's not going to happen. Like some people are just still thinking they can get away with that crap, right? So the Garden is always the card of, let's say, dating. It's a card of how we connect with people. It talks about the places where we maybe have some kind of gathering, or maybe the families getting together, that kind of a thing, right? And the Priest in Vera Sibilla, you have to put yourself in a situation that we are talking different centuries over here. So priests had multiple roles in a society, and one of them was basically telling you what you should be doing. And that's why I was telling you there's going to be a person who might be kind of like really, really intriguing. Well, I have a moon in Leo, so sorry, you have to check the moon as well. And moon is really affecting our emotions, right? And about our hunches, etc. I mean, priest upright is also talking about spirituality and morality and beliefs and good rules. But this priest here is reversed. And it suggests clearly loss of morality and injustice and errors in judgment, right? So you might be dealing with a person who was trying to control you, who almost like pulled all the strings in order to get what they want. Keep in mind that it can also talk about if you guys are in a work situation and you're trying to get ahead, it could mean somebody is dissatisfied, or you're submitting a work that you think it's awesome but the other person doesn't think so, or there's a lack of forgiveness over here that I'm seeing. It is kind of like really strange situation. There is somebody here, because that's why the malady card is showing up. And I don't know if this is you guys. Have you been sick, right? Because this is really talking about somebody who is like a little bit weakened, in a weaker state, and maybe burdened, maybe sometimes doesn't want to cope with the situation, and maybe receiving a wrong advice by somebody who shouldn't be really one giving advice. I was like in a dog park a few days ago, and I really go there to relax with my puppy, and yet you have people who just, hey, here's my unsolicited advice, and they're like shouting their mouth off. You literally have to walk away from them in order to kind of like save your soul, kind of a thing, right? So melody is reversed, so it's positive card, 23 verses in this particular case, right? So it's the healing. You may have been dealing in the past with someone, and it doesn't mean that you just cut off this person this week, but there is like this energy, you know, like energy just kind of penetrates. It's like kind of like glues itself on their soul, and it almost like feels like that if that was referring to relationship, then this kind of like two parties have come to their senses, and maybe kind of like finally all these issues are kind of like sitting still in their head, and maybe even resolve their issues. For some of you it's going to be a reunion. Look at that over here, because maybe it was misunderstanding, as I said, could be a conflict, you maybe had different obstacles, right? So if you have been sick, then you're going to recover really, really nicely, right? It was a situation, Leo, here that you have been dealing with. It could involve the children over here, or the child that dealt with heartbreak and betrayal and injustice in love. It was like some form of suffering over here, right? So my advice to you would be to take a break, kind of like step back and tend to a problem. So kind of like head on approach, right? Because somebody is going to definitely try to pull a wool over your head, right? And they tried before, and you didn't tell them stop doing it. You didn't put that line in the sand. And I still don't think you will do it, because at this stage you are like saying, okay, you know what, we have been there, and I'm simply going to ignore you. You are going to get the message sooner or later, dude, right? And the situation is no longer going to upset you. Talking about the water off the duck's back, it's just going to kind of like fly off. It's not going to have any kind of like different consequences. And there is like this essence of, you know, the child is something new, but it's also something that came finally out, something that is finally there is ability to connect, right? Sure enough, it is reverse, but I would still say this is a positive energy. This is a positivity, because there's like something back in the past. You guys are going back in the past. My goodness, when is the next Mercury retrograde? Who can Google and check that? Because there is the moving forward, but the trust still has to be built. Maybe this was the issue, that you guys had to figure out how to trust others, but also how to trust yourself, right? For some of you, this could be a reunion of somebody who you knew from the childhood, somebody who you haven't seen in a while. but somebody who you're known for a while, kind of a thing. This also could mean in terms of work, that could be some kind of like part-time projects or short-term projects that you'll be able to do that. Also keep in mind, this is a really good energy. This kind of like means it's going to be almost like a childlike energy, and that's the innocent energy. And maybe this bothers you, that somebody is just like not mature enough, but that's why you can kind of like set the stage to how do you want these things to continue. Okay, Barb is here. Hi, Barb. Why are you not a mod over here? What is going on? What was this going on? Are you having a new account? I don't know. I think you mentioned something like that. I made you a mod, I think. Why are you not turning blue? Why is Barbie not turning blue? Oh, no, you are mod. Okay, so who is next? Virgo. Virgo. You got a new kitty, Barbie. Oh my god, that's so awesome. I want to see the pictures. Okay, so Virgo, you have a child here, and you have cheerfulness over here. What's going on here? What's going on here? And this one wants to come out. Teeth. Ouch. You see, this is why I actually don't like to do Gypsy, because these messages are almost like sharp. But I was literally, this is like what was quote unquote suggested to me in the meditation. You know, one of those things that comes through. You guys, are you having a third party going on? You're like going on in a, oh my gosh, you are. There is like some form of dating over here, guys, that is taking place. To me, fish always reminds me on that website, Plenty of Fish. I don't know if any one of you used it. It's considered the crappiest website of all. Having said that, when I was like out in a dating scene, I really don't like online dating. It's weird. It doesn't show my best strengths. It's not meant for people who are attracted with other people who are intelligent. It's meant for this blink, kind of like, oh, I like you, I don't like you. That's why Tinder does very well. I remember first time when a friend of mine told me about Tinder. She says, oh, I met this guy. I said, like, how did you do that? I said, just you look at that picture and say yes or no. And I thought this was completely bizarre. And look at this kind of like took us on, because we all work in a very negative energy. We are not allowing things to be really developed. So talking about this Plenty of Fish, going back with this derailment, actually, believe it or not, that website worked the best for me, because I had very low expectations about what's going to happen, and yet every single man I met through it was just amazing. I still actually am friends with some of them, which I dated a few of them, but it didn't work out. But they were not bad fellows, that's for sure. So child is Il Bambino in Vera Sibilla, is usually talking about pregnancy and baby and childhood, just what I was saying previously in Leo's reading. But here's like really reversed. So the simplest interpretation is possible desire for motherhood, or somebody wants to be pregnant, or somebody wants to celebrate, or maybe somebody is pregnant and they have a difficult pregnancy. But also the child has many different meanings, such as like, indecisiveness, worry, and anxiety. Maybe somebody doesn't want to lose something that was recently just started, right? And somebody is maybe doing something unsafe. This can talk about investments that are unsafe, right? So something new will not be born, and that's why the fish is here. Like, you're throwing this like right back, because maybe you're realizing some efforts are not worth it anymore. Sometimes it really comes like that, right? Something is not going to bear fruit. And then there's like this card, cheerfulness, and I never like this card. I mean, in the upright, this card is really having a good meaning, but it's the guy with the two women who definitely want to be in his company, and it's just like never to me, kind of like a cheery moment to really look at it. But it can be seen as a social event, or maybe some kind of like reception, or maybe, celebration of some kind of like sort. If that's family, that would actually make sense. Yeah, kind of like yay. But this was reversed. So this could mean that there was expectation of some kind of commitment there, and the ring is like always a commitment. It's like, as you can see, it's just coming from the clouds, and something is finally showing up. So I guess sometimes we are holding on to things and people, hoping they're going to work out. Women are horrible this way, some men too as well, but women always want to make things work, because women fall in love with the potential of a man or a partner, versus men then think that somebody's cute, and if it works out, great, right? Of course, when we mature, we kind of like modify those kind of like initial kind of like things. So this can really say that there's this realization that something cannot really work out, and or that you simply have a lack of enthusiasm, or maybe even a loss of trust in others. In your case, my dear Virgo, you're absolutely right. You're having this thief card, which I absolutely hate, right? It's never a good thing to have things taken away from you, and this is also what mice do. It's almost like double whammy over here that we see here, right? So be very careful this week, guys. Lock your doors. Make sure that you count your money. Make sure you check your bills, because it might not be direct theft. It could be, how the companies always make an error, and it's never that you get money. It's always that kind of like they grab some that you have to clear it. But it's going to be something that is going to be along those lines. It can be unexpected loss of property or life, or love, pardon me, life, not life. No, I don't see death here. Just let me clarify that. It could be also loss of work. I really have to be clear with you, right? This is really talking about superficiality. It's talking about inattention to situation, and hence falling prey to something, and it's suggesting presence of dishonest people. So what my advice to you guys would be is, do not let your guard down, or you could lose something that is very, very important to you this particular week. It's extremely, extremely important that you do not take it to heart, but you are kind of like becoming and staying very watchful. And why is this now blurry? What have I done? What have I done, YouTube, to make this blurry? So Kylie, you said you're getting a better vibe or gut instinct in person rather than from behind a screen. That's for sure, especially because, and I don't know if I told you the story, I met this guy, and I went to an event to art gallery, and it was this charming guy, and his name, believe it or not, is Ashley. It has a girl's name. He's a really gorgeous guy. He was working as, I guess, security or something, and very chatty, and we started to chat, and I was very disappointed when I heard he's a Virgo, because I usually don't hit off with Virgo, but then I learned that he had Sagittarius Ascendant leader. So it's kind of like weird. He really told me all about his family. It was very, very transparent, kind of like a thing. And I think he wanted to date me, but I thought that he was very, very nice, but I just really didn't feel enough spark. So we stayed in touch, and initially kind of like people don't like when they're rejected, but then we more and more started to talk, because he did find somebody else later. And since I'm going frequently to our gallery of Ontario, which is here in Toronto, by the way, if you're here, make sure you visit. I would kind of like go there. Anyway, he met this woman, and you see, this is where my red flags really kicked in properly. He met this woman, and he dated her like for a long time, and I would say a couple of years, right? So we know each other for a while. And he was telling me, oh, we broke up, and I couldn't imagine dating her. She was not pretty. I was like shocked, because obviously he was with her for a long time, and obviously he was in love with her. And he is an Indian guy, and he lives with his mother, which is really weird, but for most of us. And she wasn't. She was actually an MD, And so security guard and doctor, you can see discrepancy. So you would tend to think she's the one who can actually make choices over here. So I said to him, like, look, this is really ridiculous. If your mommy didn't like her, who cares what your mommy doesn't like? Maybe you should kind of like figure out, you're like 45, what you want. And he said, okay, I'm going to kind of like sit with her. And the idiot and the Sagittarius in him sat down with her, as just as I felt really bad. And he told her, well, I think you're ugly. It's just like, she was so shocked that she actually ended up in a hospital with a nervous breakdown. And I said to her, like, maybe you should, just to him, you shouldn't really come close to her until she heals. So in the end, he didn't get together with her. He was working on his heartache for years. Well, I think it's like almost like another 2 years right now. He still talks about her, and she just moved on, and she actually married another guy. But it goes to show how, oh yeah, the whole long story was to tell you that he's now writing this new online profile. In this online profile, he is Mr. Perfect, and he's telling me how he's coming up as a #1 in the search. This is really important to him, instead of like the content of it. In the content, he's saying he loves animals, he loves children, and he hates both. He absolutely hates both. So that's talking about a guy who is actually good guy. Well, he doesn't know diplomacy clearly, but he's actually a really good guy who's simply lying in his profile. So what to expect from people who are deceptive then, right? What to expect really from this online concept. So so there you go, I should shut up. Who is next? Libra. Barbie left food on someone's deck. Barbie left food on somebody's deck. Let's think about it for a moment. Why is somebody not leaving food on my deck? Or maybe I would think like I'm in, say, poison or some kind. You never know. Okay. So let's go. Libra. I don't know why sound breaks up, Pamela. Try to refresh the page. Sometimes this helps because I really didn't change anything on my end. Steve, I would never lie in a profile, like little lies can sometimes lead to disaster. Yeah, but this is the problem, because you would tend to think people can read what you tell them, but people really tend to not to. Oh, look at that. This is like two divination systems, and they're like telling me the same thing. This is so freaking bizarre, other than this where I'm getting the different information. So Libra, it's an open you can have a shot at different things this week. It can be up, it can be down. It could be a new person coming in your life, as we can see it over here. And I'm not so sure, I'm not clear why is this blurry, but it is blurry for some reason. And maybe if I come close and then back, it's going to kind of like clean the camera. So Libra, you're a little bit kind of like leave me alone. Kind of like this particular, you cannot read them. Yeah. So you have Merchant reversed, you have Melody, you have Lover reversed, you have the Rider, the Crossroads reversed, but Norman, I'm reading up, right? And then you have Gentleman. So Melody generally does talk about health issues, but in this particular case, I really don't think this is so much about health, to be really honest with you. The Rider is one of those very positive cards, which also can talk about healing, as we can see it from the card over here. But Merchant is a really important card over here, because Merchant is one of those cards which at that time, when they were creating these cards, that we're going to talk about this upright and moving class, people who kind of like stood out. So it would be equivalent of, let's say, managers in a society and CEOs and people who are not necessarily rich or born rich, but people who are like upward moving kind of a thing, and who are able to have these financial kind of things, right? But here is like really talking about, possibility about bad investments. So it's really warning about investment. Do not be very careful in what you're doing this particular week, especially when it comes to starting like a new venture, new investment, new negotiation. And when it comes to a new person that I see over here, it almost looks like one party is going to be unable to hold up their end, or they'll simply will not have that necessary glue. It's cool when we meet somebody and we have many things in common, but what really boils down to it, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, everyone here had a relationship. Isn't the glue the most important thing? How you deal with issues when you don't see them eye to eye. Are you willing to accept the other partner? Well, of course, depend. I'm not talking about core issues. I'm talking about just the regular stuff, because the small stuff is usually that kind of like takes us apart, and then it builds up to the point that I cannot handle with that. But it is how we talk and how we set things up that we kind of like can continue or cannot continue. I do have to tell you, Libra, because you sometimes have this like level of vanity, that this week is going to be a week of not purge, quite the opposite, gluttony. You will really enjoy stuff that kind of like will come through it. So it might be that you'll be out quite a while and really enjoying kind of like what life can give it to you, right? So I really think that, with Melody, maybe you're going to feel some kind of like setback or some kind of like process where you are going. And this simply can mean two different things. This could mean that this is talking about the business and work and life, and this can talk about love relationships. It could literally be separated. It doesn't have to be. It could be that it's linked together. It could mean, if it talks about relationship, that you feel let down, that you really wanted something to go forward, and that you're simply kind of like having a little bit ego bruised. But it's kind of like, as I said, it's a toss. Like we have one lover reversed and one lover upright. So it could definitely means that it could be two different individuals, and to these two individuals you would not know what to make out of it, so just take it easy. It could mean that one person is one day going to be all great, another one not so great. And it could also mean that some of you are going to let go of someone, and a few of you will actually bring somebody new in the life. So everything will be a go this particular week. So it's kind of, as I said, be very careful in terms of negotiations. Do not make some big speeches. This is not a time. Even for those of you who will have this, oh, it's great that somebody else is appearing, just keep it light. Keep it very light, because things might really come to you this particular week. And if needs to be, take a day off and just sleep in. That's going to do you lots of good. I also, for some reason, feel that drinking tea, it's going to be very beneficial for you. I don't know what came through it, so that's kind of interesting. Yes, guys, please give me a thumbs up. Please share, subscribe. Thank you, Tori. Really appreciate it. I always forget to do that. So who is next? We are coming to this two signs. So I have few signs. I also want to say that I'll be doing my readings a little bit differently. I used to go them in order as I do them on a weekly, but I'm going to do them a little bit differently, because there are a few signs that are really kind of interested in what I have to say. And that will be Scorpio, it will be Sagittarius, Virgo, Pisces, and Capricorn. And there are a few signs that are just not interested. And those will be Cancer, those will be Libra, and those will be Geminis. So until this shifts, until those signs start to give me thumbs up and come to see the videos, because for example, I had 7,000 or 8,000 views on Leo and 600 views on Cancer. So until this kind of balances out, I'm going to give priority to the signs who kind of appreciate what I give. So we are going to go with that. Look at that, Michelle Weston. Moo. Oh my gosh, I have to tell you, Tiger, yesterday I took him to we have this park called High Park in the middle of Toronto. It's a tiny little zoo, tiny zoo. Like they have like maybe 10 different animals. He saw emu. Emu was like just sleeping right next to the fence, so literally could put the beak right to the fence. And he was like, oh my gosh, this is a bird, but why is this bird so freaking big? And it was lying down, so he could not even realize this is a huge bird when it kind of like starts to stand up. And he was like, woof woof, and emu goes, dude, and try to grab him, and you would see the little dog. It's like, oh my god, what is going on here? It was hilarious. I wish I had that recorded. So that's how it went by. It was really, really cute. Talking about moo things, he saw a cow, and he really, really actually this bundle came through. He really, really wanted to tell this Bizona thing, hey dude, I'm the dog, and he just didn't realize he's a little tiny little dog. Hey, he has like what, 38 pounds at this stage. So we are talking Scorpio. And Scorpio is like one of those signs that you guys are such a survivalist, but sometimes you are too stubborn for your own good. And there is like another karma card in Lenormand. So we have the priest, we have a thief, we have sorrow. But we also have love, gift, messenger, old lady, and sights. As a sort of like, I would say, clarification. Now let me try to refresh it on my end. I'm not so sure why is this blurry, but let's see what happens. So again, here priest is upright, so it's really talking about some kind of morality. You guys are moving on. There is like a sense of freedom. That's kind of like the first word that came to my mind whenever I see cross card here. And cross technically is considered a negative card in Lenormand, but I have learned, like through my readings, that I generally don't really accept any card as positive or negative, because even negative things are basically the bringer of the positive, because this karma is a wheel and we all continuously kind of like riding that wheel, right? But to me, this is more or less a card of destiny. There is like a shift over here that is really happening. Maybe there is like simply observational mode, because I'm not so sure why sorrow card is here. I'll be very honest with you, because that card to me stands out, and I think the only other card that this maybe connects with is like this card sides. Maybe some of you have somebody who is distant, at some kind of distance. Maybe you are missing them, kind of like a thing. Some of you are dealing with a religion, or some of you are dealing with religious person, and or somebody is not accepting you and your religious stance. And unfortunately, religion is one of those biggies, right? It's a core value, just like usually like a political determination, and this is not something that you can change in the other person, nor you should strive to change. My dad said to me, oh, you always have to like believe in what your husband wants to. Well, yeah, sure, that's an old school Taurus, right? No, times have changed, Dad. But he said, well, that's good for the peace in the house. I agree with that, actually, with him, that yeah, that's good for the peace in the house. So you have to keep in mind when you are getting to this position to make this person to have this peace in your house. So almost like tells me here that there is like executive decision that you guys are making. That executive decision is about a person that maybe is already present in your life. Maybe it's a person who hasn't been entirely quote unquote reliable, because the thief card is really interesting positioning over here. It's the ending of some crapola, let's put it this way. Thief is a really, really, really bad card when it's upright. It does continue to be negative even when it's reversed, right? However, this card and combined with this card is telling me that some event is over. It's kind of like the effect of some dishonest action, or somebody trying to control you, or somebody pushing their way. It's just coming to an end. Maybe it was somebody's dishonesty, maybe it was somebody's cheating, maybe it was even literally robbery or fraud, or somebody telling you one thing and doing another thing that is at this stage leaving a mark on you. And this card is actually not so bad when it's associated with the good cards, and the rest of the cards are actually really good cards. So I have to really take this kind of like thing in account. As I usually say, as I don't know which sign had thief, do not let your guard down. And it almost like looks like to you, you are making that almost like determination around this person. I always have my guard up. So why is this person that I'm deeming so important when I have to really think about what is going to come next? Why don't I have this situation where things are all good, well, they're lovey-dovey? That I almost like it's coming through my mind that you're thinking that somebody, and this is not materialistic. I don't see this as a materialistic sensation, but you have messenger and then you have a letter. But there is a gift. You might receive some gift, and I know it's not your birthday. You might receive some letter as well, or a letter in today's days could be text message or something, but it's not just any text message, but it's sort of like something that is going to be wise words. It could be somebody who is older than you in this particular situation, and it could be from somebody who is far away from you. There is like a sense over here, like the sorrow, like you are sad over something. There is like not ifs and buts about that. Almost like that you're sad that something didn't work out, right? And the priest over here is really telling about how usually these people try to tell you how to live your life. Just think about what this whole religion stuff was invented in the first place. It was invented to kind of like help these people when we didn't have schools, to kind of like give you some kind of like tools for life. You should eat this. I mean, some religions are still keeping some habits which are complete nonsense, such as not eating pork, right? Because pork, now we know why this whole rule came about. It's not healthy to eat it raw, and you have to boil it, I don't know, to at least 150, 60 in order to kind of like be even able to be digestible for people. And I think, somebody just made this quick rule based on observation that somebody really got sick. So still, having said that, it's still good to have this guidance of what is good and what is bad in life, even though we have this line has broken and people are claiming they're doing good things, but they're actually not. So this is really talking about maybe somebody not living their life in a dignified way. Maybe somebody grabbing from you what they can grab. I mean, this can be breakup of some sort, and this maybe can be a message that you are sending to somebody that you're feeling bad about that, or that somehow, like, there is a serious concern about this. But this also again can talk about having a really bad relationship with your boss at the same time, so keep that in mind. Even though you're going to be sad and some moments in this week, I do also have to tell you that something is going to come forward which is going to be very important, and this is this old woman that comes over here. I love to see this card, and it took me a long time to kind of interpret this properly. This old woman is a really kind of a reassuring card, because there is a love, there is a gift, there is like a messenger, and then there is like this old woman. To me, this really talks about maybe therapy, maybe advice, maybe counsel, getting your tarot reading, seeing your therapist, having a life coach, going on YouTube, going on Google, kind of trying to figure certain things out. But I really believe here in particular it's going to come from a person that you cherish. I don't know if you look at this basically card, she's even having her feet on the books, because she can actually represent somebody who is really well read over here, right? So you're going to get some help, most likely from a woman. It's going to be a message from the woman, and I really feel that it might be really talking also that there is an issue with a family member, older family member, possibly a female, whose maybe health is being deteriorated, and like maybe this news are kind of taking you out. That could be one of the things, or it could simply mean that voice of wisdom is going to be, I shouldn't be pushing myself in a direction where I really feel I should, again sticking to some people who are really not good for you, and you should open yourself to love, because you guys are that phoenix. You guys always open your wings and you fly and you go in this direction, because one, fixed signs have that ability to say no, and it's really hard for the other people who are more fluid than we fix signs. But when you keep trying, we fix signs really keep trying. We are trying to strategize, we are trying to build it. But when we try and we get exhausted and weakened with this situation, then we just make this executive decision and we just walk. And when we walk, it's really usually very, very high percentage of cases permanent. So listen to your own counsel, listen to your own advice. You're going to be getting people helping you this particular week. You are going to redefine who you are, what you want, and what things are good, what things are not good. It's a good thing to try to get along with people. This is one of those openness characteristics that we look for in what would make good people work in relationships, but not at any cost, Scorpio. And that's what you're saying. You're saying to yourself, the price to pay is way too high. I kind of like don't want to pay that price. That's what you're saying to yourself. It almost looks like you're sad about a certain situation that has to be ended, but at the same time you're happy. So it's kind of like really typical Scorpionic response, like, king is dead, long live the king, kind of a thing week. So it's going to be really, really interesting. It would be great if you guys give me your comments during the week about that, because karma card showing up is going to be a big week in terms of self-understanding, in terms of appreciation of others, and mostly appreciation what you bring into the table, which you've forgotten a little bit in the process. Okay, so this card should go here. So I'm glad to hear, Sally. So we are going to Sagittarians. Saggies. I feel like that lady is you, cat. You have what lady? Oh, like the sad lady, Barbie. Sorry, I just looked. I'm catching up on the stuff. So Sag here. Okay. Okay, that's so cute, Pamela. Horoscope or hormones? Let the tarot decide. Okay. Sagittarians. Well, Kylie, this is normal. Sometimes our soulmate is a child. Sometimes our soulmate is a cat. I'm not going to marry a cat, no matter how much I love my kitty. And I don't think Safi would be a really good marriage partner, to be honest. She really likes her way. And she's Aquarius, she should be a good fit, but oh my goodness, it is her way or the highway. And she's going to sit on you and put the paw in your face until she gets what she wants. So, yeah, sometimes we are just not on the same level of development. Oh, that Barbie, that lady with her feet on the book. Yeah, I actually also connect with that lady. As I said, I really molded over. Initially I was like old lady, and sometimes it's literally old lady, your kind of like girlfriend, but it's really talking about somebody who is wise. So Sagittarius. Do you know, and sorry to say, Saggies, that most of my complaints, I would say almost 80%, is like Sagittarians and Geminis. It's just like that's the same axis. There's like some kind of like issue, and I really think it's about the really quickness and directness that really happens. So you have 3 reversals. You have room. This card really talks about intimacy. You have a foe, and then you have a lover. Sorry, not lover. What do you call it here? Lord. Or gentleman in some other, Gran Signore in Vera Sibilla. This usually card signifies somebody married, and these 2 cards would be somebody married who is having kind of hanky-panky on the side. Did I not say in your monthly reading, watch for hanky-panky? I think that's what is this Sagittarians? Can somebody look it up? cat. What kind of things are they complaining about? No, they're complaining about these signs. They're complaining about these signs. They're saying the Sagittarians are bad. I mean, there is no good or bad sign. I mean, I'm Aquarius. I'm aware there are many bad Aquarius. So within the same sign, both things are happening. So guys, let's be clear on that one, right? Okay, Kylie. That's awesome. So, okay, so we have here the letter, the book, and the whip from Lenormand deck. And you can see how long it takes to do this reading, right? When you're doing these two decks. But it's good for you guys. And I didn't have an extra coffee. I went to Starbucks and got my Venti decaf Americano. I'm getting hooked on it recently. Very expensive habit. So, room is the card, if you really look at it, especially in those days. Like, even today, I guess we are not inviting people over. This is my thing. I really like, and maybe that's my Aquarian thing, I like people over. I'm telling them, I'm in full comfort with you, come and visit me, kind of a thing, right? But like this card, when it was created, it really represents intimacy and privacy and, yes, receiving guests and being welcomed by others, but also kind of like needing to retreat and reflect and to relax. Or this card can also represent waiting for somebody's arrival, right? So I really think for you Sagittarians, the week is starting with a very tranquil atmosphere. You feel that everything is in a place, but also you have a feeling that there is like something a little bit off. You know, maybe something is missing in this picture over here, because like one thing is like very interesting over here that doesn't show humans, right? It also tells me there is like a big need for intimacy over here, but it can also indicate impulsive behavior and maybe a little bit of loss of perspective, because I'm seeing it over here. I don't know who is doing what, but I'm seeing definitely somebody straying away from a relationship. There are some secrets over here. There are some secret affairs, guys. This cannot be seen any other way. Look at the book is talking about secrets and foe. Somebody's arriving under guise of night over here. The married dude who is looking the other way and pretending not to be married, right? The letter, the book, the passion over here. Everything, all these like ingredients that you need to put in the pot. So what does it really make, right? So things are going to be complicated this week. It could be talking about some kind of like a loss, right? It could indicate some kind of betrayal, whether it's you being betrayed or you betraying somebody else, right? This is not a week that is great for job. Somebody's not going to feel full comfort with you, or you know, there is like a barrier, even though she's walking through this door. And this is a good news that the foe is actually reversed. That's actually really good news, which this is a negative card, right? And it could talk about a female enemy or rival or competition, but it can talk about fake friend, right? So this is like when people are hypocritical. They just want what they want, how they want it, and they don't care if they have to kind of steamroll through you, right? But when this card reverses, it can indicate either that somebody is being revealed, but it also can indicate that the danger is imminent, right? And you might already be aware of somebody else over here. You might be aware that there is like some kind of a gossiping or something that happened that can cause damage in your life, and that this person is not going to stop. The things will continue to happen, and hence this whip card. Whip is like you crack the whip and then all the dust goes really, really up, right? So, you know, it's something that you are perceiving dangerous, something that you perceive an enemy, right? And there is that threat that seems to be happening. So you want to keep one person away, or somebody's keeping somebody away, and there is like really guarded ability. The book is the card that really talks about secrets, right? Because look at this, the book here is closed. We technically don't know what is in a book. So it could be that there is going to be a situation presented where you're going to say, well, this is the way it is. And this to me talks about some kind of documentation or paperwork, right? Or mystery. And, you know, it is like something that is combining here secretive that is really happening, right? It is like something that might need to be revealed. Somebody is really going to freak out. Somebody, this can be a secret relationship, guys, that is really happening. So Sagittarians, beware of your hanky-panky, literally, right? So the whip card, let's talk about that, and let's talk about a little bit about Lord, because I just want to explain to you that you don't think that I'm just throwing this at you. This could be arguments, this could be discussions, right? It's kind of like multifaceted. It's not negative card, it's neutral card, and kind of like it can talk about sex. And I can show you in a different Lenormand deck, and I don't know if I have it handy over here. Where is my another Lenormand? I want to show you how this card looks like in this deck. You see it here? Just to be really clear, it can also talk another person who is in control. It can talk about having a little bit rough sex, and if this is what you like, if this is what you're into it, well, you know, just be my guest. What can I tell you? It's also card number 11 over here, where, you know, some illumination has to happen, right? So be very, very careful about that, because this is a card of heated something, heated passion, hidden arguments. Something is going to be explosive. So just be really beware of that. See, the Lord card is usually a protective card when it's upright. It should indicate a married guy, right? But then when this reverses, it talks about a man of, or in this stage, a person of a poor character. For example, a husband who doesn't love, or who cheats, a selfish employer, somebody who doesn't want to pay you even though they just collected the massive profits, kind of a thing. Or clearly somebody irresponsible, and you're like, either you are putting this person on notice. I feel like there is a cracking whip in the situation. There's like some kind of like sense of shamelessness, right? Somebody who's without scruples, and somebody who kind of has possibly emotional and physical issues. It's, you know, definitely clearly in a poor shape. This person here is like wounded by life, and that's why they are behaving the way they are behaving, right? But this is the deception and this danger, and I really feel it can come from a man of a very undesirable character. So you guys, Sagittarians, you know, you guys are the sign of truth. So if this is you doing that, you're going to feel enormous sense of guilt. If this is done to you, you're going to feel enormous sense of resentment, and it's going to be very, very fiery. I also feel, Sagittarians, that you may have lost somebody, and you may have lost somebody because of making things work in your family, and that would be for you married Sagittarians. And I also feel that instead of repairing things with your partner the way you should have, you kept some peace or somebody in your heart, and this person always felt that barrier, and hence it's going to be, you know, poo or get off the pot. You want to go back to this person, you need to do that, because I'm not going to live this life of half-lives. It's going to be interesting, Sagittarians. I'm making a note. I'm going to check all my Sagittarians friends this week. I'll make sure I don't see them. Just kind of like things. I mean, actually, I do like candidness of Sagittarians, but this week is going to be very tricky. So let's see what happens. Kylie says, nope, no hanky-panky, stop giving my energy. That's good for you. Pamela Rose would love everything to be revealed, confirming any doubts and misunderstandings. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be weak like that. And Tori does have this hanky-panky kind of things. Interesting. Capricorns, let's see you guys, Capricorns. You're welcome, Pamela. Capricorns. Oops, actually, you know what I'm going to do before I do Capricorn? I'm going to do answer your question, because I do this for you guys who are live, and Let's do that. So think of a question. So this is a private reading for you guys, for all 25 that are over here. I'm going to pull 3 tarot cards, and it's going to be a relatively simple question, more or less make it a yes or no. Sometimes I go in more details. And I'm going to pull 3 cards off camera because sometimes they come out open. And you're going to pick one of those 3 cards, door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3. And I'm going to give you the answer to your question. And let's do this. Okay, door number 1, door number 2, and door number 3. Are you guys made your decision? You cannot change your mind. It is what it is. Door number 1. Whoa, the Lovers. Morgan Greer deck doesn't have this weird angel hovering around. This is just simply 2 people in each other. If you're asking about love relationship, the answer is mostly yes. Even though this card is also the card of choice, it's card of crossroads. It's somebody who needs to make the decision. Look, if I really want to be with you, I need to work on it, right? And it looks like this is going to be very, very positive. So good for you who picked door number 1. Door number 2. Well, it's another yes. Door number 2 is like 6 of Cups. This kind of like talks about really innocent connection, really feeling at ease with a person, deep friendship, deep appreciation of things. And it could be connecting with somebody from the past as well. If some of you are hoping for somebody from the past to come through or to connect with, this might happen. Mind you, it might be you who need to kind of do that. And also I'm getting this 2 6s. Looks like many of you ask soulmate kind of connection type of questions. And the door number 3. Okay, Sally, see you. Oh, we have 8 of Swords. 8 of Swords is saying that this is not possible this time. Not that this person doesn't want it. This person can't attend to it. Because look, this person is literally tied up. And this person is blindfolded. They simply cannot see what is ahead of them. It's one of those situations when people say to you, let's play it by ear. And like when you say, when do you want to get together? Let's play it by ear. I really don't know how my week is going to turn out, right? That's really what happens over here. So the answer would be no. The answer would be no, but with explanation. It would mean just, it's not that they shunned you, it's not that they don't want you, they just simply can't. So it could mean something as people are on a business trip, or people are just right now in a coma and hence they cannot attend to it. So something like that usually happens. If you chose card 3 regarding financial matters, it means that you need to wait a little bit more to see that all the decision and all the elements are revealed. You don't have enough knowledge to make educated decision. So it's just telling you to wait, pretty much to wait, right? Well, Swords, I love swords, of course, because I'm a sword person, but swords are also, if you guys don't know, and please join my school if you really want to kind of open yourself up and learn more about yourself. Swords are actually spiritual. Swords are the one that are the closest to God. So think about that. With so many people on the planet and one God, like they have to act fast because they have to tend to the other things. So that's why they're fast and they feel abrupt. But swords are really quickly delivery from God itself, right? So that's what is important. Okay, Capricorn. Capricorn, one of my favorite signs, or signs maybe that like me a little bit more than the other signs. Okay, swords are truth, yeah. But you see, Sagittarians are also truthful sign, and Sagittarians are fire, right? Wands. So, we have sorrow, prison, an old woman. What the heck? And then we have a soldier and money reversed. This is again about wise counsel, and again I'm taking this off camera because I zoomed in so much. Now let's get through the Norman cards over here. We have the ship. I don't know, are you guys traveling this week? No, I guess you're not. Oh my gosh, ship and mice, this is not a good fit. And ship and anchor, it means it's kind of like a situation where you're wondering about settling down, Capricorns, I think. some of you are really wondering, the prison card, I always see it as a marriage card. It's that means somebody is stuck in a marriage. Somebody's stuck in a situation where they cannot get out of it. They want to. That's why the ship is there. They do want to, but there are circumstances where they feel guarded of getting out of the situation. You Capricorn, you're being very pragmatic sign. You, let's say some of us, let's say Libra, would do things for love, or Leo, they would just jump out and just say, never mind, all this money I'm leaving is for love. Not Capricorn. You Capricorn are extremely strong signs. If you really look American politics, most of the people who are pulling the strings are Capricorns. They're sitting in the background. In fact, most of the people are earth signs, because earth signs will bide their time. They will wait for proper moment to do that. And I'm seeing that here in this old woman. This is the wise counsel, needing to kind of like see a situation from many different angles. And you might be looking for different resources. You might be looking, what is the leak? I really think in terms of financially, there might be some kind of bad investments. That's why the money card came reversed. And hence you're feeling guarded. Maybe it's going to be simply that you have to work on your portfolio and see which things are not performing and which things you invested hastily, and just cut your losses and just go with that. And that's why you have the anchor in the end, because I do see these losses over here. I do see feeling kind of like stuck in a situation. But this also tells me that it could be a situation full of tears. It could be sadness. And there is some kind of like end of relationship, or there could be grave misunderstandings. I don't know, maybe somebody went on a trip because the ship somehow arrived here, or this simply talks about that one person moved in time and the other person didn't move in time. I don't know if you've seen this guys, this movie, and of course I'm Aquarians, I like sci-fi movies. It's called Predetermination with Ethan Hawke. It's not so much a sci-fi, but it's so much fun. I highly suggest it. Didn't really get lots of talk in the media, but it would really talk about this positioning, how in different times in life we kind of look at things in a different way, right? So this also could be something that it feels that you are getting distant from the person, or somebody is getting distant from you, right? It could talk about the journey, is a spiritual journey or exact journey, or you know what they're saying, well, your ship is coming in, kind of like a 3-in-1 situation. It is kind of like looking for love and happiness, not so much having it, right? And it could indicate that long distance relationship that some of you maybe have. Maybe you're realizing, being a pragmatic sign, well, you know what, I really don't want this long distance. This kind of like is enough. Let's kind of like move into something pragmatic. Are you coming here? Are you going to be with me, for me, with me, or you're not going to be with me, right? So the soldier is really interesting, that is making its appearance over there. And the mice is clearly talking about some kind of like damage, and you're like trying to repair some kind of damage, which, as I said, could be that some secrets have been revealed, because that's what this card tells me, or it could be simply just there was a money loss. But when it comes to soldier, it could represent somebody in authority. It could represent protectiveness, right? Or even precision, right? Because think like about it, they're also guarding secrets, right? And the most general meaning is like kind of like talking about these individuals who might have some weight in your life right now, right? It can be interpreted as a faithful partner, or somebody who is trustworthy as well. And maybe this is a suggestion over here that is basically given to you, because somebody might simply, this can also read that somebody is in a marriage or in a relationship that cannot or don't want to get out of it. And if you're involved in this kind of like situation, you're setting yourself up for a failure if your train of thought is like that you really want to make something out of it, right? So hence there is like this guard on you. You're saying, well, I want to, but at the same time I have to be really guarded, right? So you really need to kind of like really stand up for yourself in this particular period, right? Because this money card is really intriguing over here. So I don't know if you guys, you're talking about your financial fortunes, but it can talk about gambling, or you're wondering like that you maybe spent money on somebody, and now you're looking at it like with sorrow, because you felt something just like, I mean, didn't pan out for some reason. Maybe some of you are feeling that your savings are kind of like running low, and that you're like really, really afraid about that and becoming very frugal, right? It is kind of like really reversed. It's considering ending card also, which means you're saying, okay, enough is enough, I cannot continue going on. And this is like you're going into the savings mode and preservation mode. And this might be just simply a financial investor that you're going to meet, somebody who's going to be wise and tell you how to reshuffle. If this is because it's really kind of like giving me two layers of messages that some of you, especially if you had the foreign stocks or foreign investments, they did not work well at all, and they're not going to work well at all. When it comes to relationships, like long distance relationships are not going to work out. However, what is going to really work out is your understanding of your own situation. You're going to become overly pragmatic, and actually this is really good, that overly part, and you're going to be able to kind of ground yourself and kind of like figure out how to move in a way that is going to work for you. And then you're going to kind of like allow everybody around to work on this. So that's why it is. Okay, thank you, Chris. So, Chris, you said that it was a tough week. Any of this resonates would be really interesting to find out. And now we are going to Aquarians. Definitely money in limbo during divorce. He's pulling back support has been giving me. Long run will be fine. Oh yes. So that's possibly where this guarding kind of like things comes from, and maybe you're also wondering where the money will come from as well from the reading. That's interesting. Okay, so Aquarians, Aqua people, I'm Aqua Sun as well. We have Consolation. Aquarians, please give me 2 more good cards. We can use it. I don't know about you guys, but I had about 5 weeks, not so much, 5 weeks. No, it's a little bit more. Starting April 24th, it was rather crappy. For me, it's just like, does this stop? Is this going to stop? Let's make it stop. How do I make it stop? Kind of a thing. We have Consolation, we have Fortune, we have Melancholy. Well, this is pretty good. It's pretty good. I think something flicked. Oh, we have the book. One more for Aquarians. I'm grabbing this one. Ship. Whoa, whoa, talking about a positive reading. And for Aquarians, always like there's something really weird coming through, because we have such a weird signs and exploring complete weirdness, but this is good. This is good. I mean, the book is a melancholy, not necessarily the greatest kind of like cards in the on the planet, but there is overwhelming amount of positive cards over here. So let's kind of like go with this. Consolation is a positive card, and it usually, and as you see, there is an angel saying, hey, you know, I am bringing you stuff. So here, I don't know if you can see it here, we see the ship. You see the ship over here? And the ship is over here as well. So I really am connecting this over here, right? Oh, I see, Chris, that's what's going on. Sorry to hear that. So you really need to figure out what works for you at this situation, Chris. Really what works for you. And that's what's going to take you actually ahead much faster than any other situation. So this is really talking about this guy who sits on the stairs, and he has this beautiful view. And he almost like looks like he's reading something, he's maybe waiting for somebody, but he doesn't seem to be, anxious or anything else, right? But then this angel comes with this twig and coins, and you know, it's almost like the angel is symbolizing that unexpected gift that is freely given, but it hasn't been prayed for, right? So this twig could represent those laurels, suggesting unexpected recognition over here. And it would make sense because Aquarians being a sign number 11, we kind of get the extra, we are not very liked sign, and that's because we are given extra burdens. We have to deal with who we are, kind of find our own space, and deal with ego. We need to shed our ego because we really need to belong to everybody, and that's a really tough message. So guys, this is something unknown that is coming through, which is going to be a really sudden, unexpected, and pleasant surprise. Positive news. Yay! And I don't know, it could be even gift. It could be simply honors. Or it could be something that could be a meeting that's going to result in a really exciting new opportunity, kind of a thing, right? But there is a big but. Do not feel that you got lucky. You know, oh, I'm so lucky, kind of stuff. No, this was not luck. This is something that is really well deserved, guys. Remember this. We earned that. So it's like that wheel of fortune that sometimes on the bottom, sometimes you go up. That is really needed to do that, because this kind of a card is really talking about needing to open this book, needing to kind of like apply the possible knowledge that we maybe had, right? It could be some kind of documentation, could be esoteric mysteries. If you're guys studying occult as I do, it's going to be this kind of like breakthrough kind of a thing, right? So you need to kind of like think about everything that so far you felt it was a barrier, it was hidden, it was kind of like put aside. Maybe there were pains in love, and now the page is turning, the relationships are getting richer, new love can appear with this, somebody who maybe was actually looking at us for a while, or maybe somebody who we felt was just in a different league, we kind of like couldn't go there, right? This is clearly newfound optimism. And look at the fortune card, which is the, I don't know, can you see her? She has money. Play lottery, guys. I don't say this often because lottery is most of the time waste of money. It doesn't doesn't work in our favor, right? But if you guys had depression, if you had health concerns, you're going to feel actually really good this particular week. I started, I told you that I was in that shamanic course. I kind of ended up in this course just by fluke, and that kind of like shook my life up. I was like really purging for the last 2 weeks, first initially physically, and then emotionally, like everything was coming out. And I'm still going through all these lessons and repeating these lessons, and I'm kind of going through that, which is kind of really interesting. How I also started to take these medications, well, not medications, vitamins, antioxidants that he recommended, and I feel my head is much clearer, like with all of that stuff that have been going on. And I'm wondering, maybe this is just simply what Aquarians had to go through it, right? Because this card over here is clearly talking about lucky streak and dream come true, and that's what I'm talking about. You know, sometimes lottery is simply just feeling of gaining things, and I want you guys to understand that it was earned, that we don't have to feel, oh, it just happened to me, it's a fluke. No, this is the difference over here. So it's going to be a reconciliation between lovers, where we are going to be acknowledged, like, okay, I have hurt you, and that's all going to be needed for us to hear in order for us to be able to move forward, kind of a thing. It's some kind of serenity, or finding people who are really trusted friends, or promotion, or a big win, as I told you, or sale, or even large inheritance is possible, right? So if you guys are looking for health, it could be pregnancy, or positive results, or psychological well-being, and sex energy is going to be very, very, very high, because in this particular card we can see that she's blindfolded, kind of a thing, right? This is suggesting to say that she doesn't see who she's benefiting it, right? So leaving open that possibility that anybody can kind of get that. But consolation card is telling us it's helping us for a reason. This also could mean that it's going to be a little bit of tint of something. Maybe all of that stuff might be happening somewhere far away, and hence is not going to be as practical as it kind of like felt. That's why we have the ship, and that's why we have melancholy over here. It could be, that, hey, I wish there's like still some element that needs to be worked on over here. These pieces need to be put together. It's now realization, oh my goodness, I have to rebuild this again, and do I really want it? Because this is depressive thing, and only freaking Aquarians can get depressed when everything goes their way. And come on, Aquarians, just please dust off and move on with the process, right? Because I think I think we really will. It could be like kind of like the thought that comes through, oh, I wish things work out differently, kind of a thing, right? But stop dwelling on I wish this, I wish that. Just go in this positive and joy and feelings and filtration. Honestly, I'm really seeing that you might even meet a foreigner. You might meet somebody who is not necessarily the person that generally you would kind of like go for, but somebody who is going to have this emotional impact that is going to be so strong that you will not be able to resist, right? So it's going to be about feelings, it's going to be affections, it's going to be about feeling great. So this week, literally, if you go back and you start thinking about stuff that bothers you, like you're going to play this card instead of like all these cards. So just, decision is yours. I advise just enjoy it. This is like one of those fantastic weeks, right? So there you go. That's going to be really, really interesting. I don't play in the lottery, don't gamble, which is great. I mean, but it's sometimes, like I find the lottery sometimes an opportunity to do the reset, and I do it. I just play one line, and that's all I do, and I lose all the time. So not much about that. So we are going to Pisces next. Pisces. See, this is lasting much longer. I hope you like Gypsy and Lenormand treat. Pisces. And I hope it's not going to rain. They said rain in Toronto for 2 days, but I went with Tiger for a walk, and it's still a nice weather. We have Lord, we have Pleasure Seekers, and we have Sweetheart. Interesting. I'm feeling a possible three-party situation over here, or meeting somebody who is very influential over here. It's going to be really, really interesting. Okay, Pisces. Ooh, the ring, the garden, and the mountain reversed. Okay, let's get straight to the point. Pleasure seekers always make me think, well, it's some kind of hanky-panky. There are people who are having too much, fun, and they're not really paying attention how they're affecting other people. Clearly, pleasure seekers are in between the Lord and Sweetheart. The Lord sometimes represents a married person or person who really can have lots of influence. It could also mean somebody older, somebody who is already established versus somebody very playful. And yes, I do know that in 18th century they didn't have a cell phones and that she's reading a letter, but whenever I see this card, I'm thinking of a person looking at her cell phone over here. So I really think that, with pleasure seekers being reversed, it could be a little bit of error in judgment. You might meet somebody or be with somebody who is maybe promising you a ring, but the ring is already on their finger, or they somehow are not able to give this full commitment. So I really feel there is like also some kind of like risky or, behavior. There's like something about delusions that needs to be avoided, right? There's a state of confusion. That advice of this card is to kind of like really think through your actions and behaviors to see what could be the cause to avoid the negative outcome. Because on the surface, nothing really looks negative except these two cards are saying that something is brewing underneath, and that underneath really, really has to be kind of like think about it. Thanks, Steve, for being here. You have a nice weekend too, sweetie. Pisces Venus over here, because I am seeing lots of promises here. I'm seeing somebody introducing you to lots of different contacts, and you're really wondering, you know, like it's one of those situations, do I really want to line up with this person? And initial impression is like, oh wow, this is great, but then you might end up in a company of a whole bunch of people who are not exactly the same thinkers as you are, right? But this can also mean that somebody is really serious, and that somebody's a big admirer, that somebody is, you know, somebody who has a special touch if you really wish. This also can mean achievement at work. This person is simply somebody who is more mature, somebody who could be a little bit older, but somebody who is very polite, very well put together. They're usually well dressed, and I would say wear a shirt all the time. And it could be encounter with this person that you might think it's freaking perfect, right? And it can represent a situation and positive environment, and kind of like feeling, oh my gosh, everything is like so nice and kind. I can absolutely see serving with people over here. But the Mountain is that card that really talks about delays. So for example, it could be a situation that it could be somebody who just wants to be a friend and you want more, who is married and you want more, who is telling you that he wants to be with you, but he has to handle something first, right? It could be these kind of complications that are coming in a way that you really need to ask about your own actions, about your own things where you really want to go in your life. Because the Mountain card is a negative card, right? And it really talks about messages and things are not arriving on time. So it could be that you're a little bit misled, that you had, let's say, you met somebody, you had such a nice time, and you really wanted more. And sometimes heart wants what it wants. It's kind of like not stopped by things that are really obvious in front of us. So mountains are usually representing barriers and borders, obstacles, trying to get to things. It usually slows things down. So this, if you're meeting somebody or you're dealing with somebody here, the message is that it's going to be hardship in the path. It's not going to be as easy. It's not going to work smoothly. It's going to take time to overcome this obstacle. And this is more than 1 week. This can actually really talk about 3 weeks time at the minimum before things start to be better or clearer. It can also mean that we will have to wait all the way until winter. And I know in Australia they have winter right now, or in a few days, so it could be kind of the opposite for them, or it's going to be quicker. It can also talk about a person who could be bald or gray-headed or salt and a pepper that I'm seeing over here. But at the same time, I have to say that it's still having a seed of something really good. It's saying that things cannot happen with the smoothness that would happen otherwise, but there are some complications in the situation. So let's see. So I'm sorry to hear that, Stephanie. Never great situation to be in. And then, who is next? We are going to Aries. Oh, just Aries and Taurus left. Look at this. This is the longest live I think we had so far. So, we have 24 people. Guess what I will do? I'll do one more question. So you can ask another question and I'll answer it. Where did I put my Morgan Greer? Where is my Morgan Greer? I'm lost. Oh, there it is. It's hidden. So get yourself, guys, another set of questions. You cannot ask the same question. You're not going to get a proper answer. But you can ask a different question and make sure it's not alike to the first one. Okay. Oh, did you see this? It just fell in my... So this is the first door. Send US baby. dust wipes. Okay. Second door and third door. Okay. The people who picked the door number 1, the answer is currently the situation, the circumstances are not meant to go forward. There are like still more answers needed in the situation with the 8 of Swords. It really feels that somebody feels stuck in a situation and cannot see their way out, and even fear that's going way out would be really, really weird. The people who want the answer for question number 2, for this question, and they pick door number 2, will be good 10 of Swords. But don't despair, this is not necessarily a bad card. It tells me that you're probably dealing with a situation where you're desperate, where you feel that you're betrayed, that you feel you're being let down. This card means, yes, you have been backstabbed, you have been kind of like placed in a situation where the promises are not being kept. But this is also a good card which is saying the worst is over. It's not going to go in that direction anymore. In fact, now it's starting a new phase, and it really takes for you to kind of like start looking at things in a completely different direction. So you see, Stephanie, almost like impossible. And then we got door number 3, and we have this 8 of Cups reversed. Well, 8 of Cups reversed means somebody's coming back, or you're coming back to the situation. Realization is there that, hey, you know, I had what I needed. I have what I wanted. Why did I even consider stepping out? So that's a positive yes. So there you go. We got it twice since we have a good long reading. And we are going back to Aries. Aries. I have, love. Aries. We have Doctor reversed. Aries. And you know, I mean, Stephanie, what is the chance? 72 cards. Just work the odds. It goes to show how strongly your energy came through. And we have room. Aries, get a room, literally, this particular week. It's going to be interesting. You might be a sex athlete, I would say, this particular week. That's how it looks. Ooh, are you sure that you are doing this with your partner, or you're not doing it with somebody's partner? Oh my goodness. Anyway, this is going to be short and sweet, Aries. You are literally looking for love. And Aries is one of those signs that are not generally dividing people into friends with benefits, or that's a nice way of saying kind of like jumping in bed with someone, and kind of like long-term relationship. You are always open to see whatever is going to happen, because you are just simply one of those signs that is moving one step at a time, right? So this is talking about being happy in love and thinking somebody new is coming through, but you're getting the snake. And snake is not a negative card in Lenormand. It is neutral card. It's really talking about, you know, that it could be a new person coming through. This person could be a divorced person that you're dealing with, or could be a person in a process of a divorce, right? It could be something that has to be hidden, because I'm seeing this hidden quality over here. This also can talk about this libido, right? That I'm seeing here in these cards, right? So this can also talk about getting together with your ex for some really, really steamy moments that I see here. And love is kind of like talking about a recovery of a loving relationship, and really passion that is coming through. So it's kind of really interesting that the Torah came reversed here, right? Because this is like about trusting, and it's about seeking advice. It is about kind of like healing and medicine, man or woman. But when it's reversed, it talks about that maybe there is no help from somebody, or that person we trust, you know, is actually really hindering like a resolution or some kind of like problem. It also tells me in the combination of the cards that maybe just tells me that this kind of like took you off guard. This whole situation swept you off your feet, if you really wish, because it could be that you head into something that it's going to indicate a period of difficulty as a result of this, right? It could be like, for example, in love, that you trusted somebody, but somebody is misleading you or is damaging your relationship, because you may be going into that with open heart and open arms, but not somebody else. And that's why the foxy came through it. And I don't know, like, while Lenormand has, well, I guess traditionally foxes and snakes are not the best displayed, but the fox, I absolutely love foxes, and I see them often when I walk through Hyde Park, and they tell you do not approach. I actually didn't realize how small they are. I always thought they would be bigger, like coyotes wise, but this is a negative energy over here, guys, in this particular thing. And it talks about somebody too smart for their own good, or somebody hurting you with being too quick-witted and making a joke at your expense, which is like really not a good time for it, right? And it can deal with somebody who is self-employed over here, and somebody or somebody who is a dubious character, who is on the lookout for things that are good for them. So even though you're going into something open-hearted, communication will be really needed. It looks like you're doing this for one reason, they're doing it for another reason. And the birds reversed, and this is about wiseness. In some decks, this card is shown as two owls, and that is sometimes a gossipy level on it, right? It could be lots of phone calls, lots of communication. It could be your siblings are kind of getting in the way, kind of a thing, right? It is about be prepared for clearing things out. And I really feel it's going to be okay. Listen, I thought we have something going. Why is this happening over here? Explain to me, because you're very direct about that. You don't really want to go on that, because these two cards can also talk about some kind of gossip. Maybe you decide to keep this relationship under the covers, and it comes out, and you're wondering how did that happen, right? So it, or as I said, it could be many conversations dealing over this relationship, and something needs to get healthy. Something needs to be different, and how you envision it, and you're like making this very, very clear. So that's what's going to be happening over here. And so Aries, you are not going to be visible to anybody for the whole week. You're going to be in your sex marathon, and in between the sheets, when you need to kind of like look for your strength, you'll be talking about things. So it's going to be really interesting, but we won't see you much this particular week. So let's see, Creative Girl. We approach them in their yard. They like to play like dogs. Yeah, they're actually dogs. They used to steal dog toys, so that's so cute. They're very playful. I always wanted to have a fox, but apparently they're extremely disruptive, and they're really, really cute. The one that I saw in Hyde Park was a red fox. It was tiny. It was like, I don't know, just like a big cat. And then coyote is just a little bit bigger than that. So I actually always thought they're much bigger. Taurus. Let's see what's going to happen with Taurus. Lover. Soldier. Why are you guarding something? What is that you're guarding? Oops. And sights. You're guarding yourself from somebody. Are you having a relationship that somebody wants a relationship with you, and you're saying, well, I don't think so, and I'm not ready, don't want to, not sure how to proceed, kind of a things, right? Soldier is that guarding energy, but the sight is like about some expectations from somebody, right? It could mean some kind of like separation. It could mean somebody who is asking for an answer or for a solution. It's clearly like there is somebody in your life who has this like big desire for passion and love, but it's also worrying about how things are going to, evolve. It can also talk about healing. It could be that somebody's really impatient about how things are going to really work out. This, I don't know, if you look at her, she also like is reading the letter. She is leaning on this bench, so she needs support. She kind of like does appear to be a little bit sad, and there is like this ship that is kind of like sailing away, right? I'm really wondering if if this in her hand, because I don't know, I see how it looks. It almost like has an hourglass on it. Is that basically a letter, or is it maybe a ticket for that voyage that she didn't take, right? Another thing, we see this red rose, which kind of like tells me that possibly, she received this red rose and she just discarded it, right? So that to me is suggesting that, that matters of the heart is possibly the reason for basically why she has these sights, right? So maybe, it's symbolizing departures or arrivals or or news of some kind. It clearly, there is like, lover here as well, but there is like this guarded attitude. Maybe you are really, you've been through the grinder, and yeah, that's what the writer says, and you're really cautious about starting something new. Certainly somebody is going to pique your interest, and that person is going to be very eager to be with you, Taurus. Very, very eager. And maybe this is what is going to make you feel suspicious, because you as an earth sign, you need to spend your time to feel comfort with this person, and that's why there is like this essence of, should I take this offer? Should I not take this offer? What I do? And the other person is going to be feeling rejected. Oh my gosh, look at this. These two cards wanting to come through, but they want you, Taurus. This is really good. It's nice to be in a situation when you are being chased, and that's what I see over here. It's almost like to a point that you feel like, I kind of like really don't want it, but this person is going to be really persist. This person is going to dress very seductively. This person is going to really tantalize you. And it's okay. It's going to be one of those games, playing hard to get. So Taurus is playing hard to get. It's kind of interesting. But keep in mind, this person does have a bouquet. So if you are wondering about this person's character, or if this is going to be beneficial for you, the bouquet is the most positive card in Lenormand deck. It's talking about happiness and pleasure and somebody who is very charming, and it could be even representing a gift that you're going to give. Somebody is going to make you smile, and it's going to be in the end indication that things are really going well and it's going to have future. So things are really working well for you, Taurus, and I think this is the most positive reading from all readings, even though you're going to be Mr. or Mrs. Grump this particular week. But that's okay. Like, Rome was not built in a day, so for you, slow and steady wins the race, and that's how you're going to go forward. And if you're hearing the slurping, that will be Tiger. Can you hear it drinking around? Could this be my hanky-panky partner? It could be your partner, because the whip is always about tension in the air. It could mean arguments, but I don't see that many arguments. I see Taurus being a little bit too much of a Taurus being a little bit too stubborn for their own good. And it's almost like, hey, I have like this beautiful flower for you. Like, well, I don't want it. So it could be that, this person is being disappointed because of these rejections, because there's like some kind of guarded quality here, but nonetheless, they're very, they're going to bring really good things to your life. So try to let your guard down a little bit, Taurus. It looks like it will take two to tango over here, but one person is more willing and open to do that. So if you have tickets for something, or somebody invites you somewhere, just go for it. Otherwise, you might find yourself sitting around and scratching your head, like what got into you that you kind of like made this error in judgment. So that's one of those things. So kitties around? No, I don't see kitties. It's possibly because Tiger is very close to me and I don't want to do that, even though they're not really intimidated. Anybody here? Oh my gosh, as I was online with you, he took a few toys and he shredded them in tiny little pieces. This is why I guess we had such a big piece when we were doing that. So this is much from me, guys. Look at this. We managed to get to 2 hours, and hopefully, this was satisfying. Hopefully it's going to kind of like give you some different approaches to this week through kind of like very grounded cards. So until the next week, I love you. As I said, next week I'm coming up is your Ex Coming Back series, which is for people for having on and off relationships, and people who are wondering about their talking about somebody showed up. Matrix, hi Matrix, you wanna come and say hi? He's just right here in his pocket. Come, Matrix. Come, baby boy. Where's Matrix? He's just looking at me like, what do you mean? I just lie down. I'm a cat. No, he decided to make himself home there. So, just so you know, Matrix is over us and handling us. So, guys, I'm going to let the music on. And we are going to see you next week. It was great seeing you all. Thank you for being here. And hopefully everybody who is still here and listening, they will understand that they are going to get their questions answered if they are participating in live chat. And until the next week, I'm going to see you again. I'm going to let some music play on, and at the end of it, I'm going to say kiss, goodbye, and talk to you soon. I love you. Guys, have a wonderful day, have a wonderful week, and I'll talk to you soon. Love you.